So if Joy Boy was the first pirate, who was the first Marine? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to One Piece, episode 1149. Yes, wanted to make sure. So last episode we learned that important bit of information I mentioned in the cold open. Joy Boy was the first ever pirate, the first person in the history of this world to be called a pirate. And we don't know much of anything else about Joy Boy still. Like, we know that Joy Boy fought against the nations that would become the world government. That would, merge together and become the world government. But other than that, we don't really have much of any information. Like, we don't know why Joy Boy was declared a pirate. We don't know, what kind of person Joy Boy was. We know there's a couple of people who, people used in quotes, that served under him. We have the giant robot who is here at Egghead, and we have Zunisha. Those are the two that I know for sure. I don't remember if there's any others. There might be, and I'm just forgetting about it. It's possible. We also don't know if Joy Boy is the actual name, or if it was like a nickname. In a similar fashion to how Luffy is often referred to as just Straw Hat. It's a nickname, it's a title, but it's not his name. His name is Monkey D. Luffy. So I'm wondering if Joy Boy is the same, to where it's like that wasn't his name, but it's a nickname, a title that he's come to be known by because of his actions and his overall personality. We do know Joy Boy was a previous holder of the Nika fruit. Why is my mind blanking on the full name? I know it's the human fruit. My mind's blanking on the Japanese for it. It's the same fruit as Chopper, and it's like throwing me off there. But yeah, the human fruit, mythical model Nika. We know that he held it. So that's like obviously where he got the name Joy Boy, because of the fruit. And it's I feel fair to assume that he did awaken it. If he had the title Joy Boy, if he was as much a threat as we are led to believe, then it had to have been awakened. Now, we don't know if and how Joy Boy was defeated. We don't know how any of that went down yet. We still have very little information comparative to other things that have been revealed in this arc and just generally recently. So we've still got a lot to learn about. Now, we know we're going to Elbaf next. And Nika is a legend of Elbaf. Like, the Elbafians worship Nika very specifically. So I'm wondering if we might find out more information there. I have to assume we will. Just from the fact that, we're in the final saga. I feel like every arc is going to be revealing new big information. And so I feel like information about Nika and Joy Boy is definitely going to come into play in Elbaf. But I can't say for 100% certain, so we'll just have to see. As for what's still going on right now, the Gorosei are panicked as fuck, to the point where even Saturn is just ignoring the rest of the Straw Hats at the moment in order to help find the broadcast, the snail or whatever that's causing the broadcast to go out, and basically tell the world everything. So, yeah, like I've said, I don't think that it's being broadcast from here. I think Vegapunk would anticipate that. So he would have definitely made sure that it can't be stopped from Egghead. And so I think the entire message is going to get out, and I'm very curious to see or to hear, whatever you want to say, what else we learn from this. Because we're just getting like all this information. Some of it we already kind of figured, but we're just getting more to it, and then getting new stuff with like the Joy Boy stuff. I'm very, very interested to see where this continues to go. We also have, like, outside of Mars and Saturn searching for the source of the broadcast, we do also have some action going on with some of the others. Workuri is still chasing down Luffy. We have Nisjoro still having a standoff with Bonnie and them. Things are still happening on, like, an aggressive front. So, yeah, we have a lot to check up on, so let's get to this episode and see what we have in store. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So Rayleigh is actually kind of upset that Vegapunk's revealing all of this, because in his mind, he believes that the newer generation should discover this for themselves. That this is like, these are truths of the world that should be discovered through, natural curiosity, natural exploration and whatnot, because that's what Roger also believed. And, like, as much as I love Rayleigh, this is something I actually strongly disagree on with him. There's certain things that I can agree to a point. That, yeah, it's like, let the newer generation figure that out themselves. But this is not one of them, because this is like an active threat to the world. I understand, wanting to let them enjoy the adventure of learning and, just finding out the history of everything in the world and all. There's a certain level of romance to that. Not like, love romance, but, romance as it's used to, like, within the title of Romance Dawn, the first arc of this series. Adventurous romance. And I understand that Rayleigh and Roger, and probably even other members of the crew that might still be around, don't want to, like, spoil that kind of adventure, that kind of fun, that kind of excitement for everyone. But again, when the world is under, like, this level of a threat, that would not only wipe out so many nations as it already has, but would also cause countless deaths. It's just, that's a point where, like, sitting back and just trying to let the new generation handle it and figure it out on their own creates complicity. Doing that makes you complicit to all the deaths, all the terrible actions, the destruction that is to come from this. And I by no means believe that the likes of Rayleigh and Crocus and Shockey and all of them, I don't for a second believe that there's ill intent here. I don't think that they're like doing this out of like some negative view on the world or its people or whatnot. It's nothing to do with that. I think that they're just like they're just wrong, for lack of a better way to put it. They just have this like belief, almost in a way, in total freedom. Kind of like the ideas that Luffy goes towards as well. This idea of total freedom, but with that, they're including the idea of the freedom to find out, like, information on their own. And there's certain levels where that just doesn't work. There's certain aspects of society and history and politics within the course of One Piece's world where this is stuff that needs to be said. Like, yeah, the location and information about the One Piece treasure, sure, that can remain a mystery. That's something that we can agree that they could find on their own. But, again, the truth of the world when it concerns, you know, the world being destroyed in the past and possibly being so again in the future, to again the point where countless lives would be taken and, you know, already have, not to mention the fact that like an entire island was literally just wiped off the map. It's one of those situations where you can't just sit idly by. It's kind of fucked up to do so. And mind you, for all we know, there might be some other truth that we just don't know about yet. Some other fact about like all of this going on that also makes that the crew and everyone who was there not want to say anything. There may be something else that we're just not aware of, that Vegapunk's not aware of, that makes them like not want to say anything like publicly and instead let other people figure it out. We don't know. I can only speak to what I do know. It's like with what Vegapunk had said. It's like there's not a huge amount of point in speculation because anything could be the truth here. So it's better to just report on the facts that are known. So we know that the sinking of the world in the past that happened in Joy Boy's time was due to the ancient weapons. That's not a huge surprise. Like, that's something we could have definitely figured out. Joy Boy kept the weapons intact and, like, hid them for the next generation. We also know that. We don't know why, but we know that. And mind you, one of the weapons is a person, but still. So, that raises a lot of questions. Because, as Vegapunk was positing, it kind of makes you wonder about the truth of, you know, good versus evil, who was on what side in that time. Because could the possibility that the nations that would make up the world government were actually the good guys at that time, and that the once they became the world government, they became progressively more evil over time? Could that be a possibility? Absolutely. Could it be a possibility that Joy Boy was a bad person? Absolutely. We don't know. It's likely that that's not the case. It's likely that Joy Boy was the good guy and that the government was the bad guy. But again, we don't have all the information. We don't know everything. So everything that we are thinking about here is just speculation, outside of the few facts that we do know. So it's curious what else we're going to learn here. Another big piece of information that York found out is where the location of the snail that's transmitting all this is. And it was actually that one was actually a pretty big surprise, because I figured that the transmission would not be coming from Egghead. I figured that Vegapunk would have, Stella specifically, would have set that up so that the transmission would happen from somewhere else, figuring that he would be attacked and killed on Egghead, and so that they would be looking for the snail and they would not be able to find it here. But York is at least claiming, and is pretty 100% certain, that the snail is inside the giant robot, the Iron Giant, as they're calling it, which is funny to me because it just makes me obviously think of the movie, The Iron Giant. But that's what the claim is now, which could make sense, because as we've seen, the robot is practically impenetrable. Nothing has been able to even slightly scratch it. It seems almost unstoppable. Now, we don't know what the Gorosei might be able to do with that, but still. That could be easily the case, because having something that strong, that unstoppable, guarding it would make sense. And we know Stella, was very interested in the robot. We know that from when we first saw it, so. Excuse me. It's just a matter of finding out the truth at this point. Which we'll definitely do. Now, we did see Nusturo almost take out Bonnie, but Frankie luckily saved her in time. And that led to Nusturo leaving that entire battle behind to go and help as well. And he did so by slicing the Labosphere in half, sending the bottom half tumbling down to the Fabriosphere, or Fabriosphere, either way. And with it, all of the Seraphim and all these Cypherpol agents and yada yada. So that was fascinating. And like I said in the reaction, it kind of raises the question of the Gorosei's, and specifically Nusturo's, strength as a swordsman compared to the likes of Shanks and Mihawk. Because I do not believe the Gorosei are on the level of Roger. Roger would definitely be one of the topmost dogs in the entire verse. With probably only a couple of people that we know of, at least, even rivaling him. Obviously, we have Garp and Whitebeard, who were his two rivals and practically equals. But then we also would definitely have Emu, who I think could more than likely be stronger than Roger. And on top of that, we also have Rocks, who we still know saddeningly little about. But Rocks has a likelihood of being stronger too. Then there's also Joy Boy, and we don't really know. We don't know enough about Joy Boy to really properly say. So I'm not going to include Joy Boy in that at all. But I think Nusjuro might be one of the strongest of the Gorosei. But I'm still kind of thinking that Shanks and Mihawk are like just a level above that. I was kind of saying this in the reaction as well. I feel like they're just a smidgen stronger. So conceivably, the idea is that Mihawk could do what we just saw Nusjuro do. And considering the feats we've seen from Mihawk, especially in the likes of Marineford, I'd say it's possible. I'd say it's believable. But yeah, and then Shanks could conceivably do so as well. And we know he learned at least some techniques from Roger, because we know he used Divine Departure on Kid. So we definitely can scale Shanks to at least a similar level. But yeah, I'm very, very curious to see just more of that kind of stuff. I'm not a big power scaler, but it's really cool to like get a feel for some of these characters' strength levels, especially characters we have seen for such a long time. Like, we've seen the Gorosei for so long, and we assumed how strong they were. But actually seeing it in action is a different story. It puts things into perspective a little better. And so I'm very invested to see what comes next in regards to all of this. So it's going to be very interesting to find out not only just the last bits of info we're going to have from this, but all the information we still haven't gotten. There's still so much information we don't know. And it's like, conceivably, obviously, we knew coming into Egghead, where we saw that Vegapunk was becoming a character and all, we knew we would get a bunch of information. It's like, yeah, Vegapunk's being revealed, we're going to get a shit ton of reveals otherwise. It's like, that just tracks. But with this also being, like I said before, the final saga, Oda has to start revealing shit at this point. So, we're obviously, every arc, going to find out some massive information. We still got a lot to learn about Joy Boy, about Nika, about the Will of D, about Rocks, about so much. Even God Valley we could learn a lot more about. We've only started to touch on that. Which, you know, kind of falls in with Rocks, but still. There's so much that we don't know. Hell, even a lot about things that we've learned in this arc. We've learned a bit about devil fruits. We've learned a bit about the truth of the world and all of this stuff. And it's like, we've only learned bits of it because Vegapunk didn't know everything. He admitted as such. So there's still a lot we can learn about that. And presumably we will, because Roger's crew and everyone with them at the time learned the entire truth of the world. They learned everything. They have every bit of information. And so we can presume that continuing on this journey, Luffy and them will find out everything as well. which means we as viewers will. And so it's going to be interesting to see, like, the stages at which this is all revealed. Just how much is revealed at a time, what is revealed each time, and so on and so forth. But as an anime only, it's going to be a lot longer and a lot more annoying of a ride, with the fact that Toei is deciding to turn One Piece into a seasonal anime and have it only release 26 episodes, I believe it is, per year, starting 2026. It's a stupid ass decision. It hurts the overall flow of things. And with them also seemingly planning to match the pacing to the manga more, we're also gonna be hurting in that regard. Because it means that, you know, we're gonna be rushing a lot. I'm not gonna ramble and rant about this forever, but it's just still disappointing to me. These choices they've chosen to go through. Cause it's like it's going to hurt the series overall, in my opinion. It's just going to mess with the quality and the flow. And I can say, I want to make clear here, it's still going to be good. I don't doubt that. But it's not going to be anywhere near as good as it has been up to this point. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The pacing of the One Piece anime specifically has elevated this series. And as someone who's read the manga up to the end of Alabasta, at least, I can at least speak to my experience with it. And the pacing of the manga is shit. It's so slow, or no, so fast rather. It's so fast, and it just feels like it rushes past information way too quickly. People like to complain about the anime stretching things out, but it makes it feel more, you know, satisfying. Everything builds up better. Everything just sets itself up better. The pacing feels more genuine considering the series and its themes and styles and focuses. It's like this is a series that needs to be this long. And I stand by that having it be like going along with the manga's pacing would absolutely hurt it. Because the manga has a pacing problem in my eyes. But it's all subjective, of course. It's an irritant for me. Because I really love this series and I don't want this to become like the Fishman Island remake or remaster, whatever you want to call it. Because that was shit. That was so aggressively bad. Comparatively, of course. If I had seen that originally, yeah, I probably would have liked it more. But because I know how Fishman Island should be paced, that the remaster, with its like massively cut down pacing to match the manga more, was so annoyingly bad. It was so aggressively rushed. Like, it didn't give you any time to think about what was happening on screen. It didn't give you time to process information. The way the scenes were cut were terrible. The way that that scenes progressed into the next were terrible. Like, it just did not work. And I'm really worried that we're going to get more of that with this big change coming next year. It also feels really late in the series to make this big of a change. It's like, at this point, doing this just makes no sense. Like, we're over 1,100 episodes in, and you're just now choosing to do this? It makes no sense. But like I said, I'm not going to rant on this forever. I've already ranted about this kind of shit multiple times. And I just wanted to say this here at the end of the afterthoughts to just kind of reiterate my feelings regarding it and my fears. My feelings towards that are kind of like Rayleigh's feelings towards Vegapunk revealing everything. Although I feel it's a lot more, like reasonable than Rayleigh's was. But that's my view on it. Tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? What did you think of the return of, like, random characters like Nojiko and all just being shown in here because they could? What did you think of the information we got this time? And do you think that York is correct and that the snail that's transmitting all this is in the giant robot? Mind you, if you read the manga, you might know already. Do not spoil it for those of us who are anime only. No spoilers. But yeah, otherwise, thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this reaction. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.